The RTX 5070 has been out for almost 6 months now, and a lot of you have been asking about its capabilities in a streaming and gaming PC. As prices of GPUs creep closer and closer back down to MSRP, the 5070 is becoming a more and more interesting pickup. But with the well-endowed 16GB model of the 5070 Ti available and the impending announcements of the 5000 Super Series cards, is the 5070 really the card to go with right now? Let's dive into the 5070 just a bit and see not only if it's the right GPU for your stream, but what CPUs I would pair with them as well to get the best bang for your buck. You better grab your favorite drink because this is gonna be a good one. Speaking of drinks, cheers to Geekoto gamers for making this video possible, and not to mention most of my videos. I use their lights and their microphone arm and their card reader for everything. Yes, they make all of that stuff. You can check it over here at their website. Click the link down in the description and make sure that you use code DDT10 for 10% off your entire order. Cheers, Geekoto gamers. Let's start with exactly what the 5070 is and where it stacks up with other GPUs. Let's see that graph. No, whoa, no, not that graph. What? No, get the one where it's compared to. Yeah, there you go, that one. So the 5070 is aiming to be a mid-level graphics card more than capable of 1080p and plenty powerful enough for 1440p streaming and gaming. It can probably output a 4K picture for most games, but your FPS is definitely going to vary by game, probably not its strong point. Now, the 5070 has 12 gigabytes of VRAM, which some are saying, thank NVIDIA, that is more than 8 gigabytes of VRAM, while others are asking, why did this card not have 16 gigabytes like its TI older brother variant? Well, what that means to me is that this GPU is solidifying itself as one of the best 1080p gaming GPUs that'll be around for the next 5 years or so. There are so many games right now that are taking more than that 12 gigabytes of VRAM at 1440p that it's honestly hard to recommend this card for that purpose, especially if you want more than 60 frames per second. That being said, most creators are still streaming at 1080p anyways, so honestly, I think that this card is perfect for that kind of thing. With an MSRP of $549, I really think this card is sitting in a pretty decent spot. But with power that is similar to the 4070 Ti or a 3080 Ti, if you can find one of those, or even the amazing 4070 Ti Super for cheaper, you might be better off going that route. I think one of the only and biggest benefits that you're going to get outside of being a generation newer is that the 5000 series card has access to DLSS 4, which is nice if you're okay with frame generation, and honestly is probably going to make that 1440p gaming on those AAA games run a whole lot smoother. And just to compare, on the opposite side of the GPU fence is the AMD RX 9070, which has a similar amount of power and a similar MSRP. But while the AMD video encoders have gotten much better at streaming this generation, it's still just hard to recommend that over the NVIDIA counterpart when it's the exact same price. The one thing that the 9070 does win at here is having that 16 gigabytes of VRAM. All right, enough talking. Let's build that PC. What CPU do you pair with a 5070 if that's what your heart and budget is kind of set on right now? I've got a couple of options here, and the CPU choice honestly depends a little bit on your budget and a little bit on your goals. So let's talk through these couple of options. If your goal here is to build a budget machine, the least expensive machine that you can around the 5070 for esports titles, for gaming, for just chatting streams, for streaming that console gameplay, or just honestly having fun with content creation, and you don't have a massive budget, I think the i5 12600KF is the CPU that I would most recommend and go with. It's got those 10 cores, 16 threads, which is plenty to run a little multitasking and to play your games. perfect for competitive games like Valorant, Fortnite, League of Legends, Apex Legends. If you are looking for the AMD alternative, I would honestly go with something like the Ryzen 9 5900X. It is a generation older, but that AM4 platform is still being supported today. But that does make it a little bit less expensive and honestly easier to find used. But it is not going to be any less powerful with those 12 cores and 24 threads. If you are okay with spending a little bit more and just want something that you honestly don't have to worry about slowing down anytime soon, I would recommend the Intel Core i7 14700K. This will provide very high quality streams, editing, multitasking, and top-notch gaming for a very long time to come. The 14700K gives you 20 cores and absolutely crushes anything in the 1080p and 1440p workloads that you're going to be getting out of your 5070. This is honestly probably the CPU that I recommend the most right now for creators. It is a comfortable, reliable, and absolutely ready for anything. If you need that Team Red alternative, check out the Ryzen 7 9700X. It's a great AM5 option that I honestly talk about quite a bit on this channel. 8 cores, 16 threads, and built on the very power efficient 4nm process. It pairs really wonderfully with the 5070, especially if you want to stay on the AM5 platform for future Ryzen 9000 or further ahead upgrades. There are a couple of other more powerful options for each of the CPU brands. You've got the Intel Core Ultra 7 265K, even the Core Ultra 9 285K, or even the Ryzen 9 9950X on the AMD side. But honestly, even when you're streaming and video editing, there's going to be some diminishing returns when you're using a card like the 5070. I'd recommend saving a little bit of money on the CPU and spending it really where it counts. More RGB! Either way, with one of these CPUs, you are well on your way to having an awesome streaming and gaming PC. If none of these CPUs wet your whistle though, maybe one of AMD's X3D processors, like the Ryzen 7 9800X3D? If that is what you're looking at, I built an entire PC around that processor right over here with my buddy Cloutshot. Go check that one out if you're interested. We'll see you over there. Cheers.